think like your boss. You need to consider what your manager or your boss will be interested in, what they care about, and what's their like priority. By understanding those perspectives and even anticipating like their needs, you can align your work more closely with their goals.
Today I'm talking to Zhuoyue Wang. Zhuoyue is a senior software engineer on the space management team at Oracle and is the team lead for memory management in the database kernel. Away from Oracle, Zhuoyue is actively involved in machine learning research and has published a number of academic works. Things that we'll be talking about today include the importance of identifying your strengths and interests, why you need to think like your boss, and the impact of AI on careers. I hope you enjoy listening in to our discussion. Hello, I'm your host Phil Burgess, and welcome to episode 356 of the IT Career Energizer podcast. Joining me today is Zhuoyue Wang, a senior software engineer at Oracle. Welcome to the podcast, Zhuoyue.
Hey, thanks for having me here, Phil.
So people probably won't know much about you. So could you maybe give us an introduction to yourself and maybe a little bit about what you're working on at the moment?
Sure, yeah. So you're here. I joined Oracle right after I graduated from UC Berkeley. So for now, I'm a senior software engineer. So 2 years ago, I was promoted to senior engineer and began managing junior folks as a team lead a year ago. So yeah, my role specifically involves in persistent memory management in database storage to generally ensure some optimal database storage and access from the space standpoint. So yeah.
Okay. Can you maybe give us a career tip, one that the audience might not be aware of and perhaps should be?
Sure. Yeah. I would say one career tip I would like to share, which was from my previous experience, is to identify your strengths and interests, and then probably embrace and leverage them. I would say the tip may sound straightforward, but I would say some many people will struggle actually following this principle in their careers. I think the rationale is to find your unique position in your industry and even your company, distinguish yourself from others. For example, like as a software engineer, I have been in both junior and senior positions. I have been observed one key to stand out is to let people to remember yourself because of your like characteristics or expertise. Well, like otherwise, you are always in risk for being replaceable, right? So I would say polishing and leveraging your strengths can allows you to move forward with less effort than others. And at the same time, I also emphasize interest because that can imply like how you pursue your direction. And if you are good at something but lack interest in it, I think the journey can be still painful. So I think find the overlap between your strengths and interests would be the way to go.
I tend to agree. And I suppose the other part of it is it's understanding your value, isn't it? What do you actually contribute? And how does that play into that?
Yes, that's right. That's right. So I think the most important thing here is to making sure that you find out the place that you can contribute and to contribute something incomparable than others.
Okay. So can you maybe share with us your worst IT career moment and what you learned from that experience?
Sure. I would say like one of my worst IT careermen was when I unintentionally broke a specific version of like our database engine. At the time, I was working on like performance optimization on a data block layouts. And to give everyone like a context, like our dev process involved two modes, like QA modes and non-QA modes, right? So it's pretty similar to, I would say, debug or optimize modes in C or C++. And during the testing, like somehow there was some changes introduced to significant issues when the code was run in non-QA mode. So that brings some input, some critical like build problems for the entire database and impact the entire group of developers. Like I would say like 80 people. So we have to revert the change that I made here. So that was like the worst moment.
And what did you learn from it? What do you do differently now?
Sure. That actually that things taught me like a critical lesson. It's not about like it's just try to not rush in doing anything before like careful consideration because code modules can behave differently in different modes in some certain like edge cases and we need to verify those be carefully. At the time, I was pinged by the release manager, and I got back to him and regarding the issue, and I think about that to see if we can learn from the failure and to make it twist to make it like to be a better fix to prevent the future problems here. So I discussed with him, and eventually we implemented like a special parameters to force all code to operate in non-QA mode, and then we eventually integrate this as a pre-request before merging any code as a special like task. And I think that this process is to prevent the similar issues from the future. And I think this is definitely like a lesson for me to say, okay, making sure you do everything carefully, and if there's something comes up, you need to reflect yourself, and probably the failure can make you to be the success in the next step.
And maybe on a more positive note, can you tell us about your IT career highlight to date?
Sure, yeah. I would say like one of my greatest achievement in my IT career has been my work at the persistent memory management architecture in Oracle database. Since I'm now the team lead and the owner for this critical infrastructure, I have been responsible for delivering like several important features to ensure the modules to be performant and effective. And this module is kind of, I would say it's pretty fundamental because like every component in database, like row records or even transaction records, they rely on our routine to allocate space for operations. So it's quite like a hotspot in the kernel, and it's always been the place that we have a bunch of issues for resolution.
And we're going to move on to the future of the industry, actually. So, can you maybe give us your view on what excites you about the future of careers in tech?
Sure. I would say like one thing that excites me a lot is the future for the advancement in AI. Well, that might sound like a cliche, but I would say definitely the rapid development of AI, particularly in the recent years, we have large language models, those LLM things, which I think it's pretty impressive. It's gonna revolutionize many industries, and it's kind of capable to outperforming humans in different tasks while reducing the cost. And in some sense, I think it's comparable to the internet in the early 10,000s.
In terms of obviously adoption of AI, what do you think is going to be the impact on maybe careers in tech? So, you hear a lot about maybe AI replacing people's jobs and roles and so forth. But what do you think is maybe the converse argument about that?
That's a really good. I think it's a really good question, Phil. One thing I do notice is that AI definitely can replace some of the simple or basic tasks that without human intervention. And for especially for IT professional, I think what we need to know is to making sure you tap at least a good knowledge about how to use AI as a tool. How do I use AI as a tool to do something facilitate yourself? Like for example, we have like ChatGPT, we have a bunch of like pretty cool like LLM applications, and then you should know at least how to leverage them to perform your daily tasks better. And even better, I think you should know probably something like some knowledge or principle behind this LLM. You should at least, for example, know what's the machine learning, what's Gen AI, and once you can become like the crafter, like a developer on this AI infrastructure, I think you will definitely be on the top of the industry.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see what does happen. And of course, if you look at the sort of the nature of the way technology evolves as well,
Mhm.
we probably can't even understand what AI will actually become and what it might look like in 10 years' time. So I think there'll be a lot of opportunity for people. It may impact jobs or people's roles directly.
Yeah.
It may be indirect, and we may find it's actually broader in some areas that we don't don't really understand or can envisage yet.
Yeah. You can imagine that like before, like 10 years ago, I was in college. I was already doing some machine learning projects, but I could never imagine that after 10 years we are doing such more like intelligent things using AI, using like LLM things. So that's unbelievable.
Just a brief interruption to ask you if you can think of one other person that would benefit from becoming a listener of the show. It would be fantastic if you could share this episode with them. The objective of the show has always been to help as many people as possible in developing and building successful careers in tech. So, by sharing this episode with one other person, you'll be contributing to achieving that objective. And please remember to follow or subscribe to the podcast in your podcast app. We're going to go into the reveal round now. We're going to find out a little bit more about you and the way you think. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So, what first attracted you to a career in IT?
I would say I was initially being drawn to the technology or like the IT things is because the potential to solve like real world problems. I would say my journey started with actually I was a math major in college, but everything changed after I participated in some web development projects through like a college club. We actually built like a little web app to track the laundry service availability in our dorm. So that's like a like interesting or impressive story for me to learn how technology can make a tangible like effect on my real world. So that led me to want to switch my major to computer science, and I realized I enjoy the process of building such solutions and the impact in the real world. So yeah.
And what is the best career advice you've ever received?
That's a really good question, honestly. I think the best career advice I have received was from my previous boss. Now was like my skip level boss already. He advised me to think like your boss. That's like a argument, but I think that means that you need to consider what your manager or your boss will be interested in, what they care about, and what's their like priority. By understanding those perspectives and even anticipating like their needs, you can align your work more closely with their goals, which can help you stand out and position yourself for advancement.
Yes, that is a good tip, definitely. I think understanding the needs of your manager is very important. And I think if you can understand that, you can obviously adapt, if you like, I suppose, to their sort of thinking and their objectives as well. So I think that's a really good piece of advice.
Yeah, yeah.
And what is the worst piece of career advice you've ever received?
I would say the worst career advice I have encountered was the notion that some people may say like stability is better than opportunity. This advice suggests that, I mean, for example, a job with a good work-life balance but limited growth potential is more preferable than one with growth opportunities for advancement. I mean, that might be true for some people, but I believe like for the most of young professionals, I mean, the potential for growth and exploration is definitely worth to taking the risk. Career paths can evolve over the time, and always exploring different opportunities can help you discover what you are truly good at and or what you're truly passionate about.
Yeah, that's interesting. I also think that maybe people consider things that they think are stable that potentially aren't, because obviously change is almost inevitable.
Yeah, yeah,
So yes, it's almost impossible, if you like, I suppose, to really have something that's that stable.
that's right, that's right.
And if you were to begin your career again in today's world, what would you do?
Um, if I was starting my career today, I would likely focus on more in the AI industry. I mean, like I mentioned before, like AI is like a rapidly growing field with bunch of potentials and long term relevance. Diving into AI and even like trying to join some like AI startup within some, and I mean especially the startup within the core technology products like OpenAI, those LLM infrastructure things. I think that's offering like exciting opportunities to become the forefront of technological like innovation and problem solving. I think that's definitely like you can see that's a definitely like a chance for you to grow bigger in such a way. So
It is. And what career objectives are you currently focusing on?
at the moment, I would say I'm focusing on transitioning into engineering management. My goal is to become like an engineering manager, which I can leverage my technical backgrounds while also leading the team and the mentoring junior folks.
And what's the number one non technical skill that has helped you in your career so far?
I think that should be effective communication. That's kind of important in my career. That involves like managing others' expectation about the deliverables and the timelines. as well as clearly making sure I express the main ideas and the goals of the projects. I think the good communication definitely helps a lot to ensure everyone is on the same page and to making sure the work progress is in a smooth way.
And what do you do to keep your own career energized?
I would say to keep my career energized, I stay updated with the industry trends by reading relevant articles and tech news. I also attend like some local tech events for networks and learn from different people. Like for example, I do publish a couple like AI ML conference papers. During the conference, I do know different people from the industry or even from academia to catch up with the latest trends. What's the latest like focus on the industry regarding machine learning applications, etc. On the other hand, I also participate as like venture scout for like a venture capital firm to allows me explore different opportunities and innovations.
What do you do away from technology in your spare time?
Outside of technology, I enjoy like cooking, exploring different cuisines. I'm also getting into golf recently, which has been a great way to kind of enjoy the outdoors. Playing golf has been become like a relaxing and a rewarding hobby for me.
I used to play a lot of golf myself,
Oh
and
yeah.
I used to actually find going down to the range,
Hmm.
just knocking some balls in the range was a great way of relieving stress. So
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
it's a good thing to do. It's quite a good outdoor sport.
Hmm.
Right. So can you maybe share a parting piece of career advice?
Sure. Yeah. I would say as you pursue like your career goals, I mean, definitely it's important to focus on leverage your strengths, but don't overlook your weakness. I think there's a famous concept called like shortboard effect, maybe, that highlights like why you should be good at like areas of your strengths, but still you need to making sure you will have like a weakness don't hold you back. Aiming for like excellence for the key areas, but making sure other aspects of your skills or performance is at least around the average. This balance can help you to maintain the overall effectiveness and avoid the potential pitfalls, I would say.
I think you tend to hear a lot of sportsmen when they're interviewed, they talk about spending much more time on their weaknesses or practicing the things that they're weak
Hmm.
on rather than their strengths. So you go back to your example of golf, maybe somebody who's quite good at hitting the ball a long way spends much more time on practicing their putting. And finally, how can we find out more about you and connect with you?
To connect with me or learn about my work, you can visit my LinkedIn profile or my Google Scholar page for academic publications and research. And also feel free to reach out to me using my email address, which is my first name underscore my last name at berkeley.edu. I'm really open to collaborate and discuss any different topics.
Joey, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you, Phil.
You've been listening to Phil Burgess and Joey Wang on the IT Career Energizer podcast. Show notes from this episode can be found on the podcast website at itcareerenergizer.com/E356. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Phil Burgess, and I look forward to catching you in the next episode.